Gonzalez. Quena is Director of State and Local Affairs at the Family Research Council in Washington, D.C. He previously worked on Capitol Hill and other pro-family organizations. Quena, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Allison. It is a pleasure to be with you all tonight. I want to thank you again, as an earlier speaker did, for being here on a beautiful Saturday. Thank you for taking time out for your country.
It's only Friday, though. I know you've been on the bus for a while.
So, folks, this is not the first time I've done this in the last few days. I started in Nebraska, and I saw all of Nebraska 3 times, would you say? Yeah, it was about 3 times. Then we did Iowa. And now we're back here with you in Missouri. This is my first time in St. Louis. It is a beautiful city. You have a beautiful state. It's a pleasure to be with you. I apologize. Thanks for coming out on a Friday evening. I hope your Saturday is much more entertaining than I am. I also want to give a special word of thanks to President Obama, who made my speech much shorter this week. Did you all hear that he's officially come out in support of same-sex marriage?
Yes.
I finally clarified what that meant. We at the Family Research Council in Washington, D.C. have been going all over the country on the Values Bus. We're co-sponsoring with the Heritage Foundation since last October, trying to explain to people that the president really does kind of a wink and a nod support same-sex marriage. This has been a hard thing to get through, even though he kept saying that his view was, quote-unquote, evolving. And until this week, it has been hard to explain what evolving meant until Vice President Joe Biden finally obliged us by providing us with the missing link. Oh well, I guess we now know what politicians mean. When they become more conservative, they're flip-floppers, but when liberals abandon long-held convictions, they evolve. I also want to apologize because originally George Clooney was scheduled to speak here tonight. But he was busy at the last minute holding a fundraiser with Obama in Hollywood. And so unfortunately, he got stuck with me at the very last minute.
We'd rather have you.
Hopefully you're not too disappointed. The door charge here is a whole lot cheaper. I heard that at Clooney's event, they were hoping to raise $15 million. I didn't know we could charge people. Chris, is it too late to charge people now? Okay. This is Chris Bosch. Chris, please stand up. Chris is our Values Bus coordinator, and he's my colleague at Family Research Council. He lives, eats, and breathes the bus that you saw outside. He's a great guy. Ronald Reagan liked to say that some of the most dreaded words in the English language are, "We're from the government, and we're here to help." Ladies and gentlemen, we from the Values Bus and from Heritage and from Family Research Council, we are from Washington, all right. I live there, so you don't have to. But we're not here to help. We're here to ask for your help. You've heard a lot tonight, and I know just by being here is a big statement of how concerned you are for where our country is. I want to tell you what you can do about it, and I'm very excited about this. First of all, Family Research Council advances faith, family, and freedom in the public policy square and in public opinion. We work at every level, from grassroots, state level, federal level, Capitol Hill, and the White House when they let us in. Our team of seasoned experts promote these values of faith, family, and freedom through a variety of means. Through public policy research, through public education, on Capitol Hill and in the media, and as I said, through grassroots mobilization. My job is Director of State and Local Affairs for the Government Affairs Department at Family Research Council, and I am really proud to work with our 40-odd state leaders throughout the country, again, advancing solid legislation and solutions on our issues. So tonight I'm going to speak very briefly to you because I'm tired and you don't want to listen to me all night. I'm going to tell you 3 things. What is the Values Bus Tour about? Why is Heritage Foundation and Family Research Council partnering together on this tour? And what can you do about our shared concerns? The Values Bus Tour is a national campaign. Our goal is to educate, activate, and mobilize what we call values voters. It's not on here, but if you come out to the bus, you'll see that splashed all over the side. We call values voters folks who share our values. We believe in a big tent and a broad conservative movement, And we find through talking to folks, but also through polling, that there are a core set of issues that unite us all. And Heritage Foundation and Family Research Council kicked off this tour last October. We've been doing 19 or 20 states by my count so far. By the end of this summer, we will have visited 28 states. We're focusing this year on swing states that can make a bigger difference in the public policy discussion and, of course, other events this year. But this is just the beginning, I have to tell you. This is part of, Family Research Council looks at our part of the bus tour as kicking off a 10-year plan to, again, identify, educate, and activate values voters all over the country. So why would Heritage Foundation, which tends to focus on one set of issues, and the Family Research Council, which looks at faith, family, and freedom, partner together? It's very simple. We have some shared convictions. We both realize that America is at a tipping point, and we agree that the economic and fiscal crisis in America and the moral crisis in America are indivisible. And I think you know that. We both agree that you cannot separate moral and economic issues. The fiscal crisis in America is really a crisis of character as well. And we both agree that the basis for a sound and growing economy is a sound and thriving family. This is basic stuff. You're allowed to clap, apparently. Most of all, we agree that while America is at this tipping point, our basic institutions are under attack as never before. And again, I've been going all over the country talking to folks. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir tonight, but let me give you some highlights from the Washington, D.C. perspective. Some examples. Our military is not only being threatened with irresponsible spending cuts, but America's finest fighting force is being transformed into a massive social experiment, for instance, with the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the muzzling of military chaplains. From bailouts to tax increases, our economy is being systematically dismantled and rebuilt from the ground up on a failed vision based on centralized government planning and class warfare and the pipe dream that you can guarantee equal outcomes instead of the conservative ideal, and I would argue the American ideal of equality of opportunity. Our religious liberties are under attack as never before, as this administration insists on inserting itself into the lives of our churches and religious communities, insisting, for example, that religious institutions that serve the public, and here you might think of examples like World Vision or Catholic Charities, must violate their consciences, from forcing them to provide abortion referrals for trafficked women who have already been severely victimized, to forcing these organizations to cover abortion-inducing drugs and contraceptives with a so-called religious exemption to that mandate that is so narrow that it would not cover even Jesus and the 12 apostles. Our families are being undermined on every side, from policies that attack parental rights and education to regulate. I kid you not, they tried to pass regulation a week and a half ago that would tell family farms what their kids could and could not do on the farm. Thank you, I didn't know this. Under the guise of bullying, our president and his administration continue to actively promote special rights for homosexuals and took the unprecedented step several years ago of refusing to defend the Defense of Marriage Act, a law that passed with really overwhelming votes, not just something that the president thinks is overwhelming, and a law that even Bill Clinton had no problem signing. In the last few days, I've had to completely rewrite this part of my speech because as the president has finally dropped his hypocrisy and come clean with the American people about where he stands on so-called same-sex marriage. Marriage is under attack and not being defended by this White House. Now it's being attacked. Rather than protect life with the bully pulpit that he has, within a day of taking office, President Obama rescinded the Mexico City policy which prevented our taxpayer money from going overseas and funding abortions. He lifted even modest limits on embryonic stem cell research, appointed abortion advocates to key positions, including our Secretary of Health and Human Services, and has repeatedly blocked states that have tried to defund Planned Parenthood. In just the past year, this administration has tried to force Indiana, New Hampshire, and Texas to continue funding Planned Parenthood. He's accepted the recommendation that abortion be included under quote-unquote necessary care for the purpose of Obamacare, and even appeared in a Planned Parenthood promotional video from the White House. That's how he's using the bully pulpit. This is a bleak picture, and when I talk to folks about it, they get uncomfortable and they sometimes look depressed. But I want to tell you that the values bus has a hopeful message. Let me tell you what we're asking folks to do. Let me tell you what I'm asking you to do. First of all, register to vote. I hope and pray that you all are, but I have been going to college campuses and schools and rallies and all kinds of places all across the country telling people, if you're not registered to vote, you don't have a political voice. Assuming you're registered to vote, and I assume and pray that you all are, I want to challenge you tonight to become a values champion. We estimate that there are some 60 million values voters that I talked about before, and we estimate that up to half of, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. We estimate that some 60 million values voters, or up to half, are not even registered to vote. And half of those that are registered to vote don't vote in a presidential election. Some quick figures. This means that in a given presidential election, something like 3/4 of values voters, so-called values voters, sit it out. That can't be. We have to bring them off the sideline. We have to bring them into the process. The good news is that if we do bring them into the process, they will make a huge difference. So at every stop, I am signing up folks to become values champions at the blue tables. We can do that by paper, or if you're comfortable, we'll do it on a computer. Get you signed up. Here's what you get from it. We're giving you a toolkit with simple talking points that you can use at church, at school, around the dinner table, family reunions, those are always fun to have political discussions at the grocery store. When people raise an issue that you know what you believe, we want to equip you with short, quick talking points that will draw people out and help clarify the issue, framing the issue in a way that is true. We're also going a step further, though. We're giving you tonight the tools to reach unregistered values voters one at a time by phone or by email. And because you live in Missouri, you may even be privileged, depending on where you live, to reach them door to door. Let me tell you how to do that. If you sign up at our table tonight, we will start you out with a list that we have compiled of 10, just 10, likely values voters nearest your home based on your zip code. We'll give you those along with the talking points, and that will let you explain the value of their vote and encourage them to vote. This is very simple. You're not selling something. You're not even talking about a candidate or a party platform. You're just telling them, are you registered to vote? If not, why not? If you are, do you plan to vote? Do you realize the power of your vote? This is fun. We're focusing on reaching hundreds of thousands of these valued voters that we have pre-identified for you in 21 key swing states where their vote can make all the difference this year. Brief examples. In 2008, the North Carolina presidential election was decided by less than 85 votes per precinct. 85 votes. This is not monumental. In Nebraska in 1990, this is going back a ways, Ben Nelson won his first Democratic primary for Attorney General by less than 50 votes statewide. 50 votes. He went on to serve 2 terms as governor and 2 illustrious terms as senator from that state, providing a key vote on Obamacare. Votes matter. We can give you the talking points to make this point to folks. And it's not hard. In Missouri in 2008, your state was decided by less than 4,000 votes. I looked it up, I think it was less than 3,700. Statewide. Do you want to know how many values voters sat out that election? We think it was over 100,000. We estimate that it was about 102. We might be off. But you don't have to bring all of those people into the process to make a massive difference here in Missouri. You don't even have to bring half of them into the process. Just bring some of them into the process. We can make a huge difference. People can sign up online. I'm encouraging folks to sign up at our table tonight. We can do it. This is fun stuff. Let me give you some behind the scenes. When FRC, when Family Research Council launched this program last fall, we tested it to work at the bugs and make sure it worked. We had one gal who would periodically call folks, both people who'd signed up as champions, but was also calling folks on the list just to make sure the list worked. We pre-identify these values voters for you. She came in one weekend, after one weekend on a Monday, tired, and she said, instead of Facebooking this week, I've been reaching out to people. It's just fun. It's addictive. Again, you're just saying, are you registered to vote? Do you know what the power of your vote could mean? And because you live here in a swing state, you'll probably be calling or emailing folks right here in Missouri. I was calling folks 10 miles from my house. Again, this is a lot of fun. So I want to encourage you all to go up to the blue table in the back and sign up to vote. We'll do that on Saturday. I'll invite you all tonight to go up to the back and sign up as values voters. So the first thing I've been telling people, as I said, is get informed. And the second thing I've been telling people is get involved and giving them this wonderful tool to use their phone or their email account to reach out to folks. You know, if I call from Washington or email from Washington or my boss, it comes through with a certain feel. If you call and say, I'm volunteering and you need to vote, people will listen at a whole different level. You will be much more effective. The last thing I'm asking people to do on the tour is to hold their public officials accountable and to encourage good leaders who make good decisions. I look for local examples of people that we can commend. It was not hard here. You have Todd Aiken. This is a voter scorecard. As you can see, we have copies up at the table. You can also get them online at frcaction.org. FRC Action is the legislative action arm of the Family Research Council. Every Congress, every 2 years, we take between 7 and 10 key votes on these issues, faith, family, and freedom, that really crystallize the folks' position on this. We explain why we rated these votes the way we did, and then you turn the page and you can see how your elected representatives voted. There are pluses and minus signs. I apologize for the small print. There were a lot of names and a lot of votes to get in this year. So here are the votes, 1 through 10, and then you can see the names. If you look up Todd Aiken, his name and some of the names on this page are highlighted in blue. He's a true bluer. He got 10 out of 10 this year. We don't sneak up on folks. We like to mail out letters ahead of time and say, here are the few votes that we're going to be tracking this year. Understanding that some votes are complicated, there might be reasons people vote yes when we want them to vote no and vice versa, but we want them to know how we're going to be scoring the vote, make this an honest scorecard. And I do get calls from people saying, is my boss going to be a true bluer this year? The answer is, it depends on how he or she votes. I want to also communicate to you some of the work that we do on Capitol Hill. Family Research Council, my colleagues there who work at the federal level, work on the Hill all the time and have been working with Todd Aiken and others. Todd is working with other good folks like Congressman Tim Huelskamp to offer amendments that would prevent the Department of Justice from actively undermining the Defense of Marriage Act in the coming year, for instance. Todd is also working on a bill or an amendment, to the military reauthorization bill that will protect service members and chaplains who feel that they feel compelled morally to speak out on the issue of homosexuality. This would offer a conscience protection for them. I've spoken probably longer than is helpful. I want to tell you how to find out more. Come up to the table. I'd love to chat with you more about what we do to protect life, preserve liberty, and preserve marriage and family in Washington, D.C. We do work on a broad range of issues at every level of government, as I said, from the grassroots right up to the White House. And I am pleased to serve as state and local director, which means that I work with Joe Ordsworth here at Missouri Family Policy Council. I just had dinner with Joe today. He's a wonderful man, a former state legislator, knows his stuff. You can see what he's doing and has been doing for the last 5 years at MissouriFamilies.org. I want to thank you for listening tonight. I want to urge you to get involved. I think we can all get tired, we can all get cynical, we can begin to wonder what it is that we can contribute. Folks, you may not have very much time. I have young children, we don't have a lot of time. But I want you to consider becoming a values champion. If you can make a few phone calls, if you can send a few emails and bring a few more people into the process, not only will you have your vote, but you will multiply your vote legally. This is an acorn. You can bring others into the process. If you sign up tonight, you will leave with this toolkit. I'd be happy to explain it to you up there. We also have some fun bumper stickers, Obama's last day. And please don't tell Obama what comes after a trillion. So congratulations. Thanks very much.